It's another domino in the fall of the 2020 presidential election. Conservative news network Newsmax has agreed to pay $67 million to settle a lawsuit accusing it of defaming a voting equipment company.
A Delaware Superior Court judge had ruled earlier Newsmax did indeed defame Denver-based Dominion voting systems by airing false information about the company and its equipment. The settlement comes after Fox News Channel paid $787.5 million to settle a similar lawsuit back in 2023.
All right, so joining us now to talk about the settlement is Queen City News Chief Legal Analyst Khalif Rhodes. So we talked earlier, or it was last week, about defamation and libel, and sometimes those things are hard to prove, right? So what was so definitive in this case that ended in that settlement?
Well, as the judge said, they presented clear and convincing evidence that the facts that were presented, or should I say the statements that were made about them and their company were false. That's the first standard. You have to make a false statement, and so you have to present evidence to the court trying to beat a summary disposition, a motion for the case to be dismissed. You have to present evidence to the court to show that, no, this was clearly false. Then the second hurdle is, did they know or should they have known the statements that they made were false? But if you can't get past that first portion to be able to show that what they're alleging, what they're making statements of, what they've written about, what they said on air was actually false, then you can't even get into the front door to actually have your case. And so in April, the judge said that it was clear and convincing. That's the standard for these types of cases. When you're talking about a criminal case, it's beyond a reasonable doubt. And these types of cases is clear and convincing. The judge said it was clear that they had submitted overwhelming evidence to support by a clear and convincing evidence standard that the statements that were made were clearly false.
Khalif, had this gone to trial, I mean, you got your reputation at stake. There's a lot at stake had this gone to trial. Is this just a business decision to avoid from doing that?
100% business decision. They sued for $1.6 billion with the B. They settled for $67 million. While that's still a big number, you talked about the intro, $750+ million that they'd already given in another settlement. This company, Newsmax, did a $40 million settlement with a similar voting machine system as well. They also have a similar suit against Fox News. And so I think the standard has been set that if you go to court, you will recognize that there's a discovery, there's depositions, interrogators. Those are things where attorneys are passing information back and in between each other. So what do you find in that situation? Well, you get emails, you get text messages, you get communications that are behind the scenes. So when you ask the question of, is this something that's a business decision? Part of it's financial. The other part is, do I want the world knowing what we were talking about behind the scenes? Were there a lot of production meetings where you were saying, well, we really don't have that information, we'll just run with it anyway? And so now that undermines the legitimacy of your organization. But part of this settlement also allows you not to take accountability, responsibility, or make an apology. So if you settle, I don't have to admit fault. Well, we all know that I'm not cutting a $67 check, let alone a $67 million check, if I didn't do something wrong. And so those are the types of things when you're talking about negotiation and when you're talking about settlement, how do I ensure that I walk out of this at least squeaky clean where I don't have to admit anything? Well, that's how you do it, you settle.
Khalif, with this, was there any thought, do you think, by the legal team there of, do you pursue charges against the person who started these lies in terms of President Donald Trump? Because that's how this all started, was them continuing claims from the Trump administration that the voting machines weren't up to snuff.
That would be a harder thing for them to be able to go after an individual, especially the President of the United States, who did start these statements and still continues to make these statements, even though any investigatory agency has already found that there was no type of stealing of the election.
Right.
The continual running it on the air, the continual non-support of facts to support their statements, specifically that they were being paid off by political adversaries, that they were manipulating the voting systems to make sure that they put out numbers that they as in Dominion wanted to put out. Those are the type of statements that Newsmax was running at the time that were clearly removed from the realities of what was happening. Because those things occurred, I think that was the best direction to sue. You look at a number of times to sue folks that have the largest pot, and obviously a corporation is going to have a bigger pot than an individual. Then the other portion is the likelihood of success. If I'm taking this claim to court, do I think I'm likely to succeed suing Trump? Probably not. But do I think I'm likely to succeed suing the people that I have a reel of tape I could just go and pull Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday's newscast, and that could see them continuously talking about our company in a negative light that they know is false, misleading, and inaccurate. Then yeah, that's the easier one to go after.
Do you think the settlement will play into it all? We're talking about an executive order that will potentially get rid of electronic voting in some areas or mail-in ballots. Will this play into it at all, or is that not allowed?
I don't think it'll play
Okay.
into it. I think it, again, sets the standard. When you're looking at these types of lawsuits, just like personal injury, just like wrongful death, you want to figure out, well, where's the floor and where's the ceiling? We already know where this floor and the ceiling is. It's in between 40 million and 757 million. And now you just got to figure out where you fall in those situations. If you're a larger company like Dominion, you're trying to get that 750 million. If you're a smaller one like the other company, you're trying to get to 40 plus million. Somewhere in between, there are companies that felt like they were wrong. They're going to fall in that place.
Cleve, we're almost out of time, but as we start to look ahead to next year in midterms, as a media outlet, what should our legal responsibility be when information comes our way and we decide what to say and what to hold our tongue with?
I love that question. It's trust but verify. That's
Yeah.
probably the military standard, accurate for journalism as well. You get information, verify it multiple times, then release it. I don't think that was happening in 2020, 2021, and the lawsuits, settlements are showing that it didn't.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.